Hey, everybody, it's Eddie from Tokyo. This is your cryptocurrency update from Japan. I just need to tell you, you're not the only one who's had a bad day. I know the markets are extremely red. In the top 100 coins, there is only one coin that is up, and that is just barely up, the Aurora coin. Other than that, there are significant losses across the board. And I don't even want to go into detail because it's just too red for me. I just want you to know that you're not the only one. So sometimes you feel like, oh my gosh, but everybody is feeling this. Now, I want to look at one of the reasons that's being cited as to why we're having such a red day. And then I want to tell you that it is not that bad. So, one of the reasons is being pointed to this particular Securities and Exchange Commission delay of decision for the ETF. I don't think this delay is surprising, for one, because I did a video about 3 weeks ago and had said that they will probably exercise their 45-day delay to really seriously look closely at this. And they have, and okay, it's not so bad. And I want to tell you three reasons why. First reason is, to date, 1,300 comments came in from around the world of people who weighed in on trying to get the Securities and Exchange Commission to approve this ETF. This ETF is quite different. This ETF is going for a second approval, if you will. It was denied one time, and the outline has actually been tweaked, and it has been improved. And in addition to those changes made, the marketplace has matured, and many things have happened since this particular one was denied. And also, it is an insured product. So it's backed physically by coins. So the Winklevoss ETF was quite different than this one. I do believe this one has a very good chance of being approved. And taking the time, I believe, is going to work in its benefit of being approved. Okay, so the 1,300 comments that went in, this gives us more time to put in more comments. I think to myself, only 1,300? There should be 1 million comments. There are millions of people who own cryptocurrency, and you might not own Bitcoin, but should we be able to get either a Bitcoin ETF or a top 10 cryptocurrency ETF passed, this is going to bring institutional money. And when we're talking about ETFs that are backed physically by coins, it's going to have an impact on price in a positive way. So I just think that anybody who is not weighing in and sending their comment to the SEC, it's kind of like that. If you don't vote, I don't know if you have an opinion. So I'm encouraging everybody who's listening to this video, and I'm going to give you the instructions how to do it. It's very easy. There's 3 ways, and just hang in there with me on that. So when we look at this particular letter that came out, the SEC says that according to the commission, pursuant to this section, they designate September 30th, 2018 as the date by which the commission shall either approve or disapprove, or institute proceedings to determine whether to disapprove. All right, so we've got more time. Secondly, the SEC is most likely looking at the recent news that just came out with the BOCT announcement. So if you know that Intercontinental Exchange, which I believe was the biggest news this year, really, it is going to be an exchange, the first one that is regulated. And not only does it have the regulated component, but it also has a custodial service. So the market has step by step been changing, been maturing. So even though we have seen disapprovals in the past, I think we're getting very ripe for an approval. And the changes, which we'll look at, I think address all of the SEC's concern. You know, the commission historically has made decisions on these types of trading options because they want to ensure that investors have all the information they need to make intelligent decisions. And they are just concerned for those investors. Thirdly, there was, with the recent denial of the Winklevoss Twins ETF, there was one SEC commissioner by the name of Hester Pierce, and she gave a public dissent. Here is a copy of her public dissent, and it is really solid. It's strong, it's well written, and absolutely it will weigh in heavy on any future decision made on the SEC. Now, she was strong enough and bold enough to say that she respectfully dissent from the commission's order of disapproving of the proposal rule change as amended. She believes that the disapproval of that last ETF dampens innovation, and she really does support her thinking and her argument well through the 3 points and summary. I will put her dissent letter in the comment section. I very much encourage you to read it. All right. This is the actual presentation of the VanEck SolidX Bitcoin Trust ETF presentation for the SEC staff. You can see in this 26-page document, they really do make the significant changes, and they are changes that were made from the disapproval back in March of 2017. So change number one, they talk about how the market structure has changed. Now there are multiple derivatives that exist for Bitcoin that didn't exist before. Change number two, they've made a change in the product pricing. Change number three, the proliferation of the information sharing agreements. So they show in detail those entities that are going to be sharing the agreements. Change number four, it's priced for institutional investors. It is for non-retail investors. So only the only non-retail investors will be able to purchase these shares. So it's priced for the institutional investors. It also addresses the potential price manipulation, which is definitely what the SEC worries about in regards to protecting the investors. It addresses whether the fund will be able to adequately value the assets. It also talks about how it will maintain sufficient liquidity. It addresses arbitrage, and it addresses the custody. So if you are interested in looking at this in detail, I will put the link to all of the changes that the SEC is considering in the comment section below. Okay, comments. So interesting. This is the actual SEC website in which you can find all of the comments that have been submitted to date. And I just randomly took 3 off the front page. I could have spent hours. I could spend actually enough time it takes to read them all because they're all interesting. But here's just a sampling of 3. So it gives you kind of some idea. If you are going to make a comment, it can be as simple as one line, or it can be just a paragraph. Here's an example of one. This is by David Levy. His comment was submitted on July 18th. He says, "Good morning. As someone that holds Bitcoin, I have to concern myself with a number of security issues I'd rather avoid. Making sure my private keys are secure, ensuring that my family understands how to access Bitcoin should I pass away, etc. As insured Bitcoin ETF would alleviate many of these concerns for me, and I'd greatly appreciate having one available as an alternative. Many thanks, David Levy." So he makes a very short, sweet, great comment. Here's another one that was submitted on August 1st, and it is great. "Approving this ETF submitted by CBOE is the best way to beat China in a trade war. Act smart." I like people who can say things very concisely. Here is just another one, and I literally just randomly took 3 off the front page. So this is from Wade George. He says, "Bitcoin is a technological marvel and a transformative idea. No one has ever seen anything quite like it before. It may prove to become digital gold, or it may fail. The SEC's role is not to pronounce judgment on its risk reward profile, but rather to ensure investors are adequately protected. An ETF supported by reputable institutions, insurance, and security measures, and made available only to sophisticated investors, should be a logical pilot and should be approved. Thanks, WMG." All right, so there are 3 examples for you to look at that I really encourage you to seriously put your comments in so that it will have a chance to be read and influence the decision that's coming on September 30th. So how do you actually submit those comments? It's very easy. Here is the link. You can use their online form. You can send an email, or you can actually use your pen and paper and send 3 copies of your paper comment letter to, and it gives you the address. You just have to put in the subject line of your email, it must include the file number, and it's easy to find that. Just use the other examples that I just showed you, or use any of them that are on the page, and that link will be in the comment section. Just keep in mind that all comments will be made available to the public. Now, I did see on that list of hundreds, some people were maybe uncomfortable or didn't want to disclose their name, and they put themselves as anonymous. So they still went through, they are still listed and posted. If you have any feel for making yourself public out there, don't worry. Just put your comment through with an anonymous. I'd love to see this 1,300 comments turn into 10,000 comments before the 30th of September. All right, everybody, that's all I have for you today. I'm sorry, I have no fluff. We have a typhoon here in Tokyo, and the typhoon actually canceled an appointment I was to go to this evening, and so I didn't prepare for the fluff like I normally do ahead of the time. So I just wanted to get this off in a short, quick video because I thought it was important, and I'm just really happy that you spent the time listening. All right, everybody, sayonara for now. Please take care. I'll bring you a fluff story tomorrow. All right. Bye-bye.